Hey everyone, it's Cappy. Welcome to a special bonus episode brought to you by our brand new partner, Kikkoman. You know, there are certain flavors that have become iconic in both restaurants and at home, like this rich umami flavor of Kikkoman soy sauce. So whether you're mixing a stir fry or using it to enhance the flavor of marinades, or just adding a finishing touch to sushi, that little dash or dip of soy sauce kind of really ties it all together. And for me personally, I love using it as a base for a lot of sauces that I create in the kitchen and really to heighten flavor of all different types of dishes. I make a homemade teriyaki sauce that my kids love, and using that rich flavor Kikkoman as a base just makes the sauce that much better. But for today's episode, we're going to dive deep into the world of Kikkoman and their long-standing culinary legacy. And when we say long-standing, they're an over 400-year-old company. I chatted with Chef Shota Nakajima. He's here on behalf of the Kikkoman Kitchen Cabinet, Kikkoman's inner circle of chefs and operators, which we'll learn more about in this episode. A little bit more on them. Not only is Kikkoman America's #1 soy sauce and the first Japanese company to produce it in the United States. By the way, they've been brewing soy sauce here for over 50 years. They're also a global leader in the production of it, and they have operations across more than 100 countries. We also have a fun 3-part mini-series we're doing this month, so be sure to tune in to each Beyond the Plate episode, and you're going to hear from some of today's hottest chefs and really culinary experts, all on behalf of the Kikkoman Kitchen Cabinet. And our team here at Beyond the Plate hopes we inspire you all to find some new uses of soy sauce after listening to some of those. So without any further ado, please enjoy this episode as we go Beyond the Plate with Chef Shota Nakajima on behalf of the Kikkoman Kitchen Cabinet. Shota, we're going to do a quick audio test. So can you name 3 of your favorite uses of soy sauce in the restaurant or at home?
Favorite uses of soy sauce. I love them on my eggs. Soy sauce and eggs for breakfast. Second way, I love charring sauteed vegetables on high heat, using that nice charred aroma to flavor my food. Third one, I love this dish called tamakake gohan, which is hot rice, raw eggs, and soy sauce. You can put pickles, whatever, anything salty on top. It's pretty much a food that every Japanese kid grows up eating. If you have time, look up TKG. It's a whole thing.
That sounds so good. Is it just warm rice and you add the raw egg and it kind of like cooks a little bit?
Yeah, it's called tamakake gohan. Like if you go to a Japanese Denny's or fast food, they'll have it too.
I love it. You sound good. Let's do it. Today's guest is no stranger to Beyond the Plate. You may recognize him from Season 8, Episode 7 of the podcast, or from being a fan favorite and top 3 finalists on Season 18 of Top Chef. He's a chef owner of Taku Seattle and Kobo Pizza, both in Seattle. Today, Chef Shota is here on behalf of the Kikkoman Kitchen Cabinet. Now, this is incredible, everybody. All right, check this out. Kikkoman actively collaborates with chefs and culinary professionals to inspire new uses of soy sauce in global cuisines beyond traditional Japanese dishes. This group of chefs, known as the Kikkoman Kitchen Cabinet, collaborate with the brand on food service recipe development, trend forecasting, and a whole bunch of other things. I love this, and I'm really excited for this one. So, Shota, thanks for being here, man. We appreciate it.
Of course, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to be back.
All right, so are you the first returning guest? Wait a second. Maybe Rachel Ray has done too. You're in good company, Shota.
I'll come back for another one.
All right. I want to clarify something really quick. When it comes to regular soy sauce and less sodium soy sauce, which may be obvious, and something like tamari, is there a specific time that you advise using one over the other, or is it personal preference?
I mean, it's personal preference. At the end of the day, do I try to eat a lot of sugar, a lot of salt on a daily basis? I don't. So I do use a lot of less sodium at home. When I'm cooking, though, I do like the regular soy sauce. And why is because it has that umami that for me, Kikkoman regular is almost the flavor profile that I just grew up tasting. So even a little bit of a change, I personally notice.
Yeah, interesting. Is there one bottle we should always have in our pantry?
I think the regular one. I think the regular one's the best one. It's versatile. Obviously, unless you have gluten sensitivity, then tamari is a great option. But if not, I mean, maybe tamari, actually. Maybe the tamari one is a good one. So when your friends come over, you can always have the gluten-free option.
I love tamari. I'm a big fan. All right. I'm going to say soy sauce should be a pantry staple right next to like ketchup or a can of tomatoes or, you know, what we may think of a basic pantry item. I feel like you'd agree but can you share why?
Man, soy sauce is the base of Japanese cuisine in so many ways. Even if you don't have, there's a classic dipping sauce called ponzu, which is something that you put on, a lot of raw fish. Whitefish especially, it kind of has that nice pop. You can honestly have it with chicken, whatever it is. But that's pretty much a 1-in-1 soy sauce to citrus. So even if you don't carry ponzu, you can still have soy sauce. Add some lemon juice or lime juice, whatever your preference is. And I like that a little umami. If you have hondashi, bonito flakes, kombu, just put it in there for a day or so. If you want to keep it vegan, you can add nutritional yeast. I think nutritional yeast really has that mushroom umami flavor profile. So that's always a great replacement.
So like when it comes to like their logo and the brand, can you share any more about like the name or like does it represent something?
Kikko actually means turtle shell in Japanese and man is for 10,000. So according to Japanese legend, turtles live to be 10,000 years old. So they're a symbol of happiness, success, and longevity that I think Kikkoman absolutely nailed because everyone knows this. Everyone knows Kikkoman.
I'd say so. All right, tell me what I need to know about Kikkoman. Like why Kikkoman?
Why Kikkoman? I think Kikkoman is just one of those trusted brands. You can find them in any country. I've been overseas to Nigeria and walked into a grocery store and found Kikkoman once before. So it's one of those brands that I know that I can trust. When you see soy sauce, if they're from different countries, they're just different in the way they're processed. So they taste different. So, it's one of those things that I see Kikkoman soy sauce. I know I can cook Japanese food.
Honestly, so important like for a chef like that quality and consistency, like knowing that brand is, to your point, reassuring. When you go to another country or city or village, whatever it may be, you're in good hands.
And a lot of people, I think, know Kikkoman. So when you go, I want soy sauce, Kikkoman brand, doesn't really matter where you are. People automatically know. Oh, I understand that.
So I remember when we spoke on your Beyond the Plate episode of the podcast, you were talking about how you use mochi in pizza dough, which I don't think is so traditional, but is so genius. Like, I feel like I've talked about that so many times since. Can you share some non-traditional ways that you use soy sauce, or do you often like stick to the traditional route?
I use it in so many different ways. I think soy sauce at the end of the day has techniques you can use. Let's say when I saute vegetables, I'll crank my heat on high and I'll actually scoop my pan to the side so that heat is on one section of the pan. And that's when it gets beaming hot, that's where I'll drip my soy sauce. So I get that instant char and I can see it. And once it hits that note right before burning, I toss my ingredients inside of there. So it's a simple way of using soy sauce, but you can get this depth of char and umami that way. So I would say like you can use that, if you're doing Western cuisine and you're doing your simple salt, sherry vinegar, or lemon, acid, fat dishes, you can add that soy sauce char as one more component to that.
Oh, I love that so much. And so, sorry, just confirming, like that's a good technique for a home cook to use, like to kind of up their game a little bit in the kitchen.
Yeah, especially fried rice. I'm a big fan. Fried rice, always scoot your pan to the side, move your rice to the edge so it's not beaming hot. And once that gets steaming hot, I put my soy sauce in, let it caramelize a little bit, toss my fried rice in there, and that's the finish.
I may honestly go make rice right when we're done with this, just so it get cool enough for fried rice later tonight.
There's this old manga. Man, I can't remember the name of it, but they were talking. I remember this one manga I grew up reading, and they talk about fried rice and what the key of this is. And they were talking about it's not just the wok, it's when they toss it, it's that flame hitting that rice that's coated in soy sauce to get that flavor. So this is kind of my play on that.
Dude, that is so good. I love it. I'm curious, is there another innovative way you've seen it used, or a way you saw another chef use it maybe that you're like, damn it, I wish I thought of that?
I think in Japan, when I went to go train, I was mind blown by the different ways they use soy sauce. And there's a sauce base that you use called kaeshi, which is sake, soy sauce, mirin boiled together. You add some bonito flakes and kombu, and you just let it sit for months. Like 3 months is usually how long you let it sit. And what happens is it gets this round flavor. The soy sauce gets round, everything turns into this umami base. And that's what you use for the base for udon noodles, soba noodles. So when you go to Japan, they always have their own kaishi, but it's layering flavor. So they use this kaishi to flavor the base, but they add fresh soy sauce on top. So it almost has 2 dimensions of soy sauce that you can get. So when I like make my salmon marinades or whatnot, I cook alcohol from mirin and sake, add soy sauce in, bring it to a boil, let it cool down, and then I add a little bit more soy sauce in raw when it's cold and marinate it. So it has that rounded flavor profile as well as that like fresh, edgy soy sauce.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's utilizing the same ingredient in different ways.
Yeah. How's your teriyaki doing, by the way? My 6-year, now 6, he was 5. I ordered it and we had a bottle in our fridge always, and he loves teriyaki. Like he goes to the fridge to get your bottle of teriyaki.
It's been a long learning journey, not gonna lie. Like my first year I sold a lot. I lost money though. It's one of those learning curves of like, cool, I see the project, but like all these hidden costs. The glass bottles was a big one. The amount of glass bottles that break. I mean, at the end of the day, like I'm not sad or upset. Like I spent my money so I can learn and I'm getting better at it. That's all that matters. But it has been a journey. And now I have one of my closest friends, childhood friends, helping me out. She worked at Amazon for 16 years. So she's really helping out how to like push it, promote it, organize it. And it's getting there. It's turning into a real business now.
Love that. Good for you, man. I mean, it's delicious.
And it uses Kikkoman as well.
There
My
you
teriyaki
go.
sauce uses all Kikkoman soy sauce.
That's probably why it's so delicious. And the layers of flavor, of course.
And the layers.
So we're at this like interesting time where I don't want to say soy sauce is having a moment because it's been around for thousands of years. But there was this article in the New York Times, I think it was like a year and a half ago, talking about, I'm using air quotes, Japan adjacency as it relates to cuisines. And I feel like a lot of people think soy sauce may only be used in certain cuisines, but the reality is it's really able to be used more broadly. And I believe the writer is Kim Severson, who wrote, Japanese food is the cuisine all other cuisines most want to hang out with, which made me smile. So I'm curious, like, what makes Japanese cuisine so cool that everyone wants to hang out with it?
I think the simplicity and the appreciation, not just the chefs, the people have towards food. And I think that creates this special thing about food. People who cook, people who go fish, people who farm. When you eat, you say itadakimasu in Japanese. And when you're taught to say that, it's not just for the person who cooked, it's for the fish itself. It's for the person who got the fish. It's for the person who brought the fish to the grocery store. It's the person who packaged it at the grocery store. I think it's very based on gratitude. And, I think the other part is when you turn on Japanese TV, there's like 7 channels that everyone watches. If you watch it, 70% of the time, they're talking about food. People love food. And I think because of that, even simple turnips, there's farms that are known for their turnips. It's treated like wine from this patch of ground. And, is there a difference? There absolutely is a difference. I think that's the beauty of especially Japanese cuisine in Japan is the ingredients are delicious. There's a lot of craftsmanship that goes into it. The soy sauce itself, Kikkoman, it has this really rich umami flavor profile, but it's not too sharp. It's rounded even if you taste it on its own. And, it's simple things, but a delicious turnip with delicious soy sauce that's cooked together, just that itself is incredible. But I always say it's hard to cook that over here because just not all the elements are treated that way.
All right, let's inform our listeners a little bit. Can you tell us or share some other cuisines that you've seen soy sauce use as an ingredient in recipes or dishes?
Man, all kinds of different dishes at this point. I see them in sauces, steak sauces. At the very end, reduction. It's pretty much a salt replacement that you can use it as. I think the other idea is like marinades, I think are a big one. A lot of people are using it for marinades. It tightens the ingredient. It also adds a nice char when you grill it or cook with it. Obviously, it burns quicker, but it has that nice flavor profile that you can add. Butter and soy sauce. Any cuisine, you can replace your sodium with soy sauce if you want to, or use both at the same time.
I feel like I read an article recently about some bartenders adding it to certain cocktails, which I haven't had. Definitely a little more, I'll call it exotic, probably for like a normal person getting a cocktail, but I'm pretty game. Like I definitely, if I saw soy sauce as a cocktail ingredient, I'd be like, heck yeah, I'm trying that.
We actually used to have, my old restaurant used to have a cocktail with soy sauce. We would braise mushrooms that I picked, like chanterelles or whatnot, in like a soy braise. And we used that soy braise, turn it into a syrup and, used to make cocktails with it.
Oh, that sounds good. Really good. I just had a meeting at this bakery this morning and they had a wild Thai banana cookie they were selling at the bakery. And I'm like, well, people use like miso in cookies and everyone likes salt, on their cookie. I'm like, can I add it? I kind of want to experiment and add it to like a basic cookie dough. All right. So Shota, as you know, here on Beyond the Plate, we like to go beyond the plate and talk about social impact and the way our guests and partners for that matter give back and support their community. And you discussed it in your previous Beyond the Plate episode, which I loved hearing from you about. And so being that Kikkoman is a 400-year-old company, we love learning about brands like this and the good that they do in their or other communities. Tell me why you're so proud to align yourself with Kikkoman.
Number one, I think as a Japanese person, being able to represent Japanese food in the US, being able to line up with a brand like Kikkoman for me is extremely Japanese. Makes me proud. I can tell my aunts and uncles and grandpas in Japan, and they all would know what that means. Like, I'm representing Kikkoman in the US. I think that's always been a goal of mine. It's incredible to be able to, my first journey when I started cooking over here and opened my restaurant was when I was always cooking, people would go, oh, Japanese food, you do sushi. And when I opened my first restaurant, my mission statement was convey Japanese culture in a new way that it hasn't been introduced. I've seen the US be interested in more different ingredients from Japan, not just soy sauce, but miso and all these different things. But yeah, being able to represent the classic Kikkoman.
Such a good partnership.
It's a wonderful partnership. It almost feels like I went to school in Japan as well. I know they use it in cooking schools over here, and they do cooking competitions for CIA students, which is incredible. That's a great way to be part of the community. And in Japan as well, the culinary school that I went to as well used Kikkoman. So it almost feels like I'm going overseas and being able to convey something that I grew up with.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen some of that. I'm a CIA graduate and I've seen the affiliation and something some of those contests they do. I actually was at the CIA in San Antonio earlier this year, and I know they have a presence there. And I feel like it's so smart and important for brands like that to have those affiliations, especially with these students who are going out in the field and, you're a well-respected brand. Quality, consistency is such a great thing to kind of be out there and feed the knowledge of these future cooks, really.
Props to Kikkoman. It's such an easy brand to work with because I genuinely love Kikkoman and there's so many good things to say about them.
Closing it out, is there anything we should not be putting soy sauce on?
I think maybe not in your shampoo or body wash.
We used to have a gallon jug of hot sauce in our house growing up, and my brothers used to joke like, everything but cereal.
It makes sense.
See all these uses you're firing off here, man. And like, there's got to be like a little Kikkoman tip book brought to you by the kitchen cabinet.
Yeah.
Is there a special like Shota move we need to know about? A dash of Kikkoman soy sauce on something?
Affogato. Finish your day with ice cream, espresso, and a little dash of soy sauce.
Oh, love it. So the vanilla ice cream or gelato, the normal shot of espresso, and a dash of the soy sauce.
Dash of soy sauce.
Love that.
It gives it like this umami-rich, caramely flavor profile.
Yeah, so good. Thank you for tuning into this bonus episode. To learn more about Kikkoman and their full portfolio of products and solutions for food service operators, go to kikkomanusa.com/foodservice. Follow them on social media at KikkomanFS and Kikkoman USA. Kikkoman, we thank you. This episode was produced by myself, along with Ian Cohen, Joel Yetton, and Sean Petrosian. Our digital media producer is Sarah McClellan-Mead. Our music has been composed by Goldford. Find him at iGoldford. As always, special shout out to my wife, Katie. If you have not started following me yet, you should. Find me across all social media at On Cappy's Plate, or go to BeyondThePlatePodcast.com and keep up to date with Beyond the Plate. Beyond the Plate is also on social at BT Plate Podcast. If you have a moment, we'd be grateful for your support by rating, reviewing, and even hitting that subscribe button to the podcast. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Plate. I'm Cappy, and remember, there are never too many cooks in the kitchen.